Hi, I'm Jessie Ahmed, host of Valley News Now, and I'm here today with Nina Holding-Eagle-Bouchard. I'm so excited to have you here. I feel like I'm kind of in the presence of like royalty with this award that you have won. Congressional Art Competition, first place winner. Come on,
Yeah.
That is amazing. So I'm going to show your artwork here too. We'll just jump right in. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about like what this competition is and how you got encouraged to apply.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really know what it was until I applied.
Cool.
And even after that, I honestly didn't really know. Because it was kind of like a last minute thing. That, like my art teacher, or my painting teacher, Catherine, was like, hey, you should apply with some of your stuff. I think it would work really well. And I was like, okay. And
I love that.
Yeah, and I did these prints over like November of last year.
Okay.
And I was like, hey, this would fit pretty well with like the theme of like discovering Minnesota.
Right.
So I submitted those. And then
It's all right.
yeah.
I get it.
There was like a whole story behind like trying to find one of the prints because I got sick. And,
It's always something, isn't
It
it?
was
Yeah,
kinda
so it's
funny.
kind of cool that you had it already, you'd already done that, and it
Yeah.
wasn't like this, okay, what am I going to submit for the art competition? I think that makes it even more special that it was something you had already created. Okay, so tell us about it. I've been reading and I just was so excited. There's been a lot of comments on our Facebook too about your print. So I'm just going to let you take it away.
Basically, it's 7 layers is the thing that I
Cool.
start with because that's a lot of layers for a screen print. 10, like what is considered like a lot of layers is usually like 4.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes.
Okay. So
like
this is
7 was,
7.
yeah, it was kind of a lot.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of the year, I wrote a speech for one of our things, like one of our like Burbage traditions. And I was like, I hate screen printing.
No way.
And then I did this, and now all of my like friends from school are like, "Hey, isn't it funny
That you
you started this year hating screen printing, and now you're here?" But I made the piece. Originally, it was like a digital painting, because I was in a critique at school. I did a different piece, and someone told me that the composition of that one looked too much like the Butter Maiden, and I was like, "Hey."
You're like,
wouldn't-
wait.
Yeah, like you wouldn't say that to me if I wasn't native.
Right.
And then I made it into a digital painting, so I was just kind of upset. And then someone told me during a different critique, hey, that painting would make a really good print. And I was like, I hate that you're right. So
because I hate this kind.
yes. And I spent the next like month, 2 months, just like working on like making it into layers, like separating all these things, getting those printed out, like exposing screens. It was a whole thing, and like mixing colors.
Imagine, yes, a whole process.
Yes, I had to do it 2 different times actually, or I had to do the printing of it 2 different times because one time like a bunch of the layers weren't, like the ink just wasn't right, so I had to like, I was like, hey, I don't like how this batch looks, so I just redid the entire thing.
Oh my gosh.
Like
That's a sign to me of somebody who really, of working hard, you know, with some serious work ethic, because it's so easy to just be like, meh, it's good enough.
Yeah.
And you're like, no. There was a quote in here from one of your teachers talking about your work. I don't know if I can find it quickly, but she was just talking about how intentional you are, how hard you work at things, and you know that it was so fitting that you were the one who won this award.
Most of my days in the studio, like after school, and I was like continually frustrated that like the studio wasn't open as long as I needed it to be.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. You're like, it needs to be open longer. I want to work more.
Oh yeah,
Who says that?
Yeah, it was at one point like the studio was like open like an extra half an hour, and I was like, guys, it's open it's up until 6:30 now.
I get to work longer.
I know. Yeah.
Not what you normally hear.
Yeah.
From 12th graders. Actually, not true. I really find that not true. I feel like sometimes we want to think like, oh, younger people don't know how to work hard anymore, blah, blah, blah. Not true.
Yeah.
Not true at all.
A lot of my friends at school are also kind of the same thing, where they'll like spend like just hours in the painting studio. Or
so cool. So let's talk a little bit about the school that you go to. So you went to Moorhead High, originally like freshman, sophomore year. And then tell us about this school.
I found out about it when I think I was in like 9th grade.
Okay.
And it was like my like dream school because I was like a weird little art kid. So then, and then 10th grade, I decided to apply. And one of my teachers, my Spanish teacher, Lana Sumala, was like an alum from like one of the first classes, I think, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, very.
Yeah, and one of the first things she told me when I told her I applied was, I can't wait for you to meet the geese. Because there's a lot of geese.
Really?
The whole thing, yeah. And I applied, I got in, like I applied last minute, like the last day, because, yeah.
Life, yeah,
yes.
I get that.
And I got in, and I was like, wow, I'm moving to Golden Valley, because it has dorms.
So you moved there and live there,
yes.
like away from your family. That's a lot.
Oh yeah, it was a very good experience, I think.
Was it? I
had to learn a lot about grocery shopping.
Yeah, a lot of
Oh my
growing
God.
up in,
Yeah.
as a, what were you, 16?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, it was a really good experience, I think, just like
That's
having to
awesome.
move, and then like all of my teachers are just really cool. Like they were
It's pretty awesome to get to do what you love. I mean,
Yes.
even though, like you said, you still were doing maybe some kinds of art that you don't love. I mean, we still have to always learn, right? Other
Yeah.
things that aren't in our wheelhouse, and then you turned out to be this award-winning piece, which I just think is great. So the school itself, what's the name of it?
Purpich. Okay, that's a great question. Actually, we don't
We don't know.
because
We don't
it's
know.
part of a system, the Purpich Center for Arts Education,
Okay.
which includes the library, the school, and the professional development.
Okay.
And I think the school is named Purpich Arts High School.
I was
But it
having
kind
trouble
of
like
depends.
tagging it on Facebook
Yeah.
too, because I was like, is it a high school or is it Center for the Arts?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
We don't know.
Yeah,
Both,
it kind of
either.
depends on like where you're typing it. It's
Okay.
I don't know, honestly, but
That's awesome.
it's one of those.
It is. And you said it has kind of a cool backstory. We talked a
Yeah.
little bit about it, and I was like, save it. I want to share this with everybody.
It was like originally like a Christian college.
Okay.
And then that shut down or something, and they put this like art school in like the shell of it.
Okay.
So they had like the dorm buildings, they had all this stuff like already set up, and they had like, you know,
So like, let's
classrooms.
try this.
Yeah, which is kind of fun because like you look at all the classrooms and like I know the printing studio. It's very clearly like used to be 2 rooms, and they knocked down one of the walls, and now it's like just one big one.
It's just the printing studio
Yeah.
now.
So
That's
like
great.
I think so there's a lot of like places like that in the school where it's like it's very clear that it wasn't built to be an art school.
Sure.
But like it just kind of learned to exist in there. I think that's pretty cool.
Sweet. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of creating something new out of that building.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
very neat.
Yeah, and I think it was I think the first class graduated in 91 maybe.
Wow. Okay.
92?
So, wow. Can I do some math? Like 32-ish years?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. That's pretty cool. I mean, that's
Yeah.
actually been around a little while. I really don't love thinking that 1991 was that long ago, but that's okay.
Yeah, and then it was like I don't know if Rudy Purpich started it, but it's named after him.
Right. I was
obviously.
wondering that too, if it's inspired by him. In a really cool quote that was, you know how sometimes people put things just in their emails, and I actually read it, and I'm like, this is really great. So what Governor Rudy Purpich said was, inspire people to believe in themselves, and they will accomplish extraordinary things. And it's simple, but it's so true. You know, if you can get people to believe what their gifts are amazing, they're like just gonna soar.
Yeah. And that one's like hung somewhere in the school. I genuinely cannot remember where. It's like one of those things where like I know I've seen it.
Right.
Cannot
But
tell
yeah,
you where.
not sure exactly where. Well, you're busy working hard all the
Yeah.
time.
But I do think that quote's like really true, like especially at the school because the teachers are like so supportive
Really?
and like just great.
I love hearing that.
Oh yeah, they're all wonderful people.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Like Catherine, the painting teacher, she's like very supportive with like getting students to like apply to things like this. Like she would tell me about like different like gallery openings, like different things like that
Wow.
like I could apply to and like things like
that's
that.
what's hard, I think, as a student or anybody, whatever age you are, but starting out in a new field.
Yes.
You're like, you don't know about those things, and you need somebody to connect. And I think
Yes.
that is just so important, and it's really what we all need to be able to connect together, and then we understand each other better, and then we thrive even more. Right?
Yeah. And like I think all the teachers are really good about that.
That's awesome.
And yeah, there's a lot of opportunities for students.
I love that. I know I'm jumping around, but I would love to hear a little bit more about your piece. I mean, we talked a little bit about it, I guess. Maybe let's just show some of these pictures again. I want everybody to get to see that. So I have a good friend that I went to school with, Laura Lee Bergen, and she put on my Facebook this morning a picture of this hanging in her hall. And I was like, that is awesome. We
Yes.
are high school buddies, and you were buddies with her kid.
Yeah. Sam.
Cool, with Sam. That is awesome. And this was the second place
Yes.
winner.
That is my roommate, Lee.
Oh, you guys are roommates. How cool.
Yes, and the really funny part about it is that piece is referenced off of me.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
love that. It actually was a little confusing for me when I was looking at it because I'm like, that looks like Nina, but But yeah, I got it now.
Yeah, that's why.
And this one is yours.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
And here is, and who is this?
That's Ilhan Omar, the
Okay, I wondered.
representative.
I think. All right, it might be in this slide, and I might even have it in. All the titles are so much, right? But she kind of helped to host the event. Correct?
Yes, the food was amazing.
Here we go. Was the food amazing?
It was so good.
Oh, I love an event with good food.
Yeah.
I'm like, what did they have? I don't know.
I think they had it was like samosas and like something else, like maybe like spring rolls.
Nice. Okay, speaking of like banquets and that kind of thing, you get to go to Washington, D.C.
Yes.
Your piece will be in the Capitol building for a year. How does that feel?
Really cool.
Right?
I wasn't expecting that. Because again, I applied pretty last minute, so
Yeah.
I was like, we'll see how this goes. And now it's
In the Capitol.
yeah.
And then they're going to fly you there. You get 2 tickets to go fly.
Yes.
Do you know who you're taking?
I honestly, I think Lee.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would be so cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. You guys can go together. And
See all the
there's
museums.
like oh, yes. Seriously, it's so much fun. Have you been to Washington, D.C.
Never,
before?
but I really want.
Oh, you're going to love it.
I'm so excited.
Yes, you need time. A lot of things to go see. And they'll have like a banquet too, where that is so neat. So congratulations
Thank
again.
you.
And thank you so much for taking the time to come. I know you were down there in the dorms and I was like, I just want to wait. We could have done a Zoom, but I wanted to wait so I could meet you in person. So
Yeah.
thank you again so much, Nina.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I appreciate it. And maybe we'll have to add some links if there's places people can see your work or anything like that. We can put that on the end of the interview.
That's cool.
Sounds great.